His name is Nasirudeen Shuraim. He's a motivational speaker, a storyteller, and the visionary behind Did You Know Studios, a platform that has brought impactful conversations with influential figures like Mufti Menk, Omar Suleiman, and Sheikh Aminu Daurawa to audiences worldwide. In this episode, he'll be sharing his journey of self discovery, the lessons he has learned from interviewing some of the most respected voices in Islamic scholarship, and the spiritual insights that guide his work. You learn about the challenges of building a platform from scratch, the mindset needed to pursue audacious goals, and the importance of understanding who you are to achieve what you want. Shuraim will also reveal how he selects his guests, prepares for interviews, and the surprising lessons he's gained along the way. Whether you're on a path of self discovery, interested in creating a platform that amplifies voices of value, or simply seeking inspiration from a life dedicated to spiritual and personal growth, this episode is packed with wisdom, practical advice, and heartfelt reflections to help you along your journey. Without further ado, I introduce to you Nasruddin Shuraim. Shuraim,
Hello.
tell me what I need to know about you, the experiences and events from childhood that molded the man sitting with me today.
Thank you so much for having me, Nurain. I'm really excited to be here. Usually, I don't do interviews. I'm not the one being interviewed. I do the interview. So I feel very honored that you find me worthy to come on your show. Um, wow. No one has asked me that question. But I think my journey started when I lost my dad at the age of 6. And my mom, she was really, really very disciplined, and she made each and every one of us in the house extremely disciplined. So she made us understand that you have to be the man of yourself. You have to go out and fend for yourself. So even at that moment, my mom made us make sure that, we all had a lot of jobs that we were doing. And I grew up in not a normal setting, in the sense that, okay, fine, I didn't get all the gifts, all the birthday gifts. We didn't do birthdays then. If it was birthday in my house, you know what they do? They pour water on you. So we don't get gifts like that. So my mom really made us, very, very disciplined, and made us understand that we need to fend for ourselves, and we need to stand for ourselves. And for us to do things we've never done before, we have to become people that we have never been before. So she wasn't a soft woman. They call her mommy soldier simply because she was a very, very tough woman to us, in the sense of, okay, fine, she had 7 kids. I'm the second to the last born. So she needed to make sure that we were all good guys and good girls in the house. And that really made me become the kind of man I am today, whereby I want to hustle, I want to make things happen, and the likes of it. And, when I went into school, and people ask me, what do you want to do? I tell them this, I just want to, do the media work. I also want to be a lawyer at that point. I also want to be an architect at that point. By the point I realized that I wanted to just go into the media world for people to be able to have a proper and deeper understanding of life in general, and also from the spiritual point of view in Islam and as well. So one of the things that I did personally was I went to university. I didn't get the opportunity to study media, but I got the opportunity to study Islamic theology. So when I studied Islamic theology on my third year, I felt that, okay, fine, see, why don't I set up a TV show whereby I interview people on what is not conventional, what people don't really talk about. Let me ask them questions and have that conversations with them. At first, I thought it would be possible. I thought at first it wouldn't go anywhere. But I felt that, see, my mom always tells me that if you want to achieve it and you put the work, you would achieve it by the grace of the one who made you in the best of ways. So I had that in my mind, and I'm like, see, this is the kind of man I want to become. I want to make so much impact in my community. I want people to benefit. I want as many young people to become the best version of themselves. So for me, by helping other people, I was extremely excited. By being there for other people, I was extremely excited, simply because I had a lonely childhood, as well. I also had a lonely period during my secondary school and also the university days. In university, people would tell you that Shuraim doesn't have friends, because I was the only guy that's been to himself most of the times. And in the university then, I was the only one that was given a single room out of everybody, simply because I was an extreme introvert. People think I'm an extrovert, because I talk, I go for lectures, I do TV shows, but I love my space. And to be sincere with you, for lack of a better word, I don't like too much people around me. I like too much people around me. So people think that, okay, fine, oh, he runs a TV show, this guy is that. But in reality, I like just my space. But unfortunately, or fortunately enough, I became a bit popular and I was trying to manage that and it became my reality. Until today, I'm trying to manage that, that space that I'm not too used to and I'm not too conversant with, because that is not the kind of person I am. I just want to chill at home for like 1 week. I just do nothing, or even just do my stuff, chill at home, speak to a few people that are the most closest to me, that I love them so much and like service. So the kind of man that I've become, I think that it was influenced mostly by my mother and highly influenced by the death of my father, because I only have two memories of my father. The first memory was when he was about to go out and he asked me, I was crying, right? And he asked me to get his umbrella. And I went back to the house and I came back and I didn't see him again. And the last one was when he was about to die, when they brought him from the office and he was lying there and, I was looking at him and I was shouting because I was 6 years old basically. So I didn't know what was happening then, right? So for me, it was quite deep and I didn't even get to mourn on his death until when I was 22. So from 22 to the age I am now, I still mourn, right? Because, and this mourning that I do is not like, I just remembered him and that. Said no. These are periods in my life whereby I get like a pause and I really mourn missing him, because him not being around has made me become the kind of person I am. So always I'm thinking, what can I do? How can I be successful? How can I help people? How can I achieve A, B, C, and D? And then that trauma of him not being around affected me in a way that, just do things and move on, And I was open to accepting love from people who show fatherly love, even though if they were not sincere or being sincere. So I think the kind of man I've become today is mostly influenced by my mother and highly influenced by my father.
But how is it like for you growing up without a fatherly figure?
Very difficult. In secondary school, then when there's open day, I lied to my friends that my father is in Lagos and he's working in Lagos, because I didn't want to feel that loneliness. I didn't want to feel that your dad is not here. I didn't want people. I felt at that point that people knowing that my dad was there was a shame. You get, like, I just felt that, and I didn't want to tell them, because all of them, their dad were coming to the school for open days. So I just lied to them that, my dad is not around. He works in Lagos. He works in Abuja, blah, blah, blah. I like stuff. But it's very difficult, because as a man, I think you need someone to take you somewhere within yourself that you don't even know about. And the best person to do that for you is your father, who will guide you, hold your hands, make you understand life, because no one will love you as much as your father will and take care of you and be there for you emotionally, mentally, as well as, him being there for you financially as well. So if you notice, I did a statistics, I made a research on people who have lost their fathers. I realized that they are more active in terms of getting their life goals than even those who haven't, right? They push a lot, they do what they have to do. Why? Because they want to fill that vacuum. And love for them is deeper than deep. Love for them is deeper than deep.
Yeah. What do you mean?
What I mean by love for them is deeper than deep is because they missed some part of love in their lives. When they love a person, they love them wholeheartedly. Likewise with those who have lost their mothers. They love them wholeheartedly. And surprisingly, they always get heartbroken. They always fall into people who do not have the best interest for them, simply because they just feel, this guy is like, I feel like you're my father. I want to talk to you and the likes of it. And when you talk to them for one or twice, you realize that, these guys were not the right, we're not there for you. So you keep searching, because it's a vacuum and you can't close it. It's impossible for you to close it. Right? And there was a time I was like, I'm going to stop grieving. I'm trying to stop grieving. But I realized that the moment you think that you're going to stop grieving, it still comes back again. It comes back again, over and over again, over and over again. And you just need something to close that vacuum a little bit. It's just like, someone who's addicted to a particular thing. When you're trying to leave that particular attitudinal behavior, what happens is that you try to bring things that can help you out of it, right? So likewise for me, in terms of love for fathers, you want to fill that vacuum. And every time you try to fill it, it just doesn't get filled. And that's when I realized that, your dad is gone, accept it, grieve where you can, and move on. And be the man that you can be. And no one is going to come and save you. You got to save yourself, right? And that's, that has been what I've been doing, alhamdulillah.
So it's like working hard served as your coping mechanism for not having a fatherly figure.
Yeah, it did. Like for me, what I've achieved today, I think because I didn't have a father figure, I didn't want people to say, "Oh, he doesn't have a father," right? But I didn't really understand what emotions is then. I didn't really understand what trauma is then. I don't even understand what it meant to lose someone who brought you to the world, literally, right? So yeah, it has put me in that state where I want to do like a lot of stuff. I want to walk. I want to do stuff. Like I had a summit last year, and during the summit, I came and I saw 1,600 people that came. And I was looking at the hall and I cried. And I was like, I wish my dad was here to see. I know everyone was there. My dad, everybody was saying, "Oh, we're proud of you." Mufti Menk was there. "Oh, we're proud of you." Everybody was saying, "We're proud of you." But there was just something missing, right? There's just something missing that I wished I had. But this is the qadr of Allah. This is what Allah has predestined. Yes, our heart is heavy, for what has happened, but we move on with that. And after the summit, I was like, what is the next thing to do now? And I was moving to the next thing. And my mom told me something. She said that you do not celebrate your wins. Take a time off, travel, leave the country, go do something fun, and come back. Because for me, it's difficult to be excited about things. It's like, I've done this. Okay, next thing. Next thing. Next thing. Pew. And my therapist said that to me, that is, one of the reasons is due to the trauma I went through in terms of, my lack of father figure. Yeah.
It took you from when you were 6 years old to 22 before you grieved his loss.
Mm-hmm.
And throughout that period, you were just working, and that served as your coping mechanism. Were you happy?
I don't know what the definition of happiness means at that moment. And I think happiness is subjective. For me, I feel at that point when I was doing all this work, I was distracted by thinking about him or thinking that, okay, no one family-wise is there in terms of my father figure. So it distracted me a lot. It took me away from so many distractions. But when it hit me was when I was now matured enough to understand what lost means. I'm now matured enough to understand what it means to lose a loved one. I've seen people losing their loved one. I've had friendship that has broken up. I've had like series of relationships that has gone away and like stuff. So I would deeply understood, and that's why it took me that long to be able to mourn at that particular age, because now I am more aware, I am more conscious, and I now realize that I need emotional shelter. And where I can get my emotional shelter is someone that I can trust extremely, somebody that can appreciate me for my mistakes, and I think that should have been my father. But right now, I do not have that. So now when I make a mistake, a stranger out there is shouting at you, "You made a mistake," blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, "Yeah, but you ain't my dad. But you ain't my dad. Why are you talking to me like that, right?" So yeah, it was a struggle. But at that point, I can't remember if I was happy or not. I don't think I was distracted. That would be the word then. I was distracted.
You mentioned that you went to therapy. What led to you going there? Like, how did you gain the awareness that this is something I need to go to?
So surprisingly enough, therapy, I started it just about 2 years ago. And I realized that, there are some things that I do in my life, right? There are some decisions that I make. And there are some things that I stand by that some people will be like, "Oh, you shouldn't do this. This is the norm. This is what everyone is doing. Why are you doing this?" And I realized that, this might have an effect. This might be, associated with the fact of me losing my dad, the way I grew up, what I was able to do at a very, very young age, not allowing myself be the age guy I am. When I tell people my age, everybody's surprised. They think, "Oh, you're 40, you should be 30, you should be this." You get my point, right? So for me, I was like, okay, fine. I need to really understand the kind of person I am. And after taking a minor in psychology, I realized that, okay, fine, I need to work on myself as well. I need to a minor in psychology.
A minor?
Yeah. I need to work on myself. I need to understand myself more. Because I was shutting everybody out. And it was easy for me to cut you off. And I'm like, well, khalas, move on. Because I felt that, okay, I've lost my dad. So yeah, just keep living your life. And it did strike me until when someone said, "Oh, Shuri, you need to get married." Everyone was like, "Get married, get married." But in my mind, I was like, "So if I get married now, what happens? If I get married, what happens? What do I do, right? How do I keep a successful home?" And now I don't even have a father figure to speak to, a father figure to see what he has done. But my mom loved my dad so much, and they were together for a long time. They gave birth to 7 kids. I was the second child, last born, literally. So I wanted to learn what were the techniques he used to keep a home like this amid all the forces that were telling him do this, do that. But I wanted to ask him directly, okay, how did you feel when you had conflict with my mom? How do you feel? How did you act to it? When you married my mom, how did you go about it? Do you think if I do this decision, I'm going to do it like this? I'm going to handle it properly. And when I realized, okay, fine, if I begin to ask people, I ask Mr. A, Mr. B, Mr. C, everyone is going to give me their perspective, right? And I'm not going to trust their perspective. But how about I trust someone that married my mother and speak to him and he educates me? So I realized, okay, fine, now I need therapy. I need to speak to someone who is a licensed therapist and who is very, very qualified and get their perspective on what I'm going through. And then they'll inform me. That was when I realized that I need to go for therapy, which I did.
And how was it? Or how is it going?
Scary. The first meeting was scary. Literally, she was telling me everything about me, and my head was about to just end the therapy. But it helped me understand the kind of person I am. It helped me understand how amazing I am. I usually see myself sometimes as not doing enough, not achieving enough, and sometimes I just feel, just live life for what it is. Right? But after the therapy, and which I'm still having still, I got to realize that, take life gentle, make the best decision for yourself, learn to love yourself as well, as best as possible, and understand that these things that you've gone through have been predestined for you by the Almighty. You either accept it and move on, or stay there and you keep braving for long and not seek for help, and then you're going to be in one place. Because everyone is going to fall. But when you fall, never call the ground home. A friend of mine told me that. She said, "Dad, when you fall, Shuraim, never ever call the ground home. Never ever call the ground home when you fall. Always stand up and do what you can and keep moving as best as possible." So terrible, but it was really nice. It's crazy when you meet a stranger and tell them your problems. Crazy. And for an introvert like me, it was really hard. It was really hard, but I think that's one of the best things I've done in terms of self-development.
If someone was meeting you for the first time, how would you explain what you do? Because I heard you mention so many things. So how would you explain what you do to someone meeting you?
So when people ask me that and they say, "What do you do?" I'm going to think I do a lot of stuff. Like, what am I going to tell you right now? So I look at you and I study you immediately, and I say, "Okay, fine, what information fits your status at the moment?" So I tell you, but usually I think I just tell people, "Okay, fine, I run a TV show where I interview people, hear their perspective, and also I'm into the oil and gas. I'm a chief operating officer in an oil and gas company, and also right now I also consult for the villa as well. So a series of things I do, but what interests me the most is the TV show I do. Yeah.
You studied, while I was doing your research, I read you studied Islamic studies at Al-Hikmah University. What inspired you to pursue a degree in that?
I think I had an inspiration to pursue a degree in Islamic studies. So, all right. I'm not sure I should say this, but let's see. Let me see how I can frame it properly. Well, I started with ABU Zaria. I'm at Bello University. When I started ABU Zaria, I wanted to study mass communication or law, but I didn't get either of them. And the way the Nigerian universities are, they give you any course, I don't care. And then they gave me history. Now, I didn't like history because I wasn't something I loved to do. So at that point, I left university. I became a dropout in the university. And I came back home. And I told my uncle, because I was telling my uncle, like, "See, please, I want to study a different course and likes of it." But I was seeing the years were going, and I was in the university, and everyone is saying, "Hey, you left university, look at you, just da, 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 da." And I say, I just want to study somewhere. And then I saw online that they were doing an advertisement for Islamic theology. And let me go through this stuff. It's cheap. It's a private university. I'll finish in 4 years. Halas. And I went into it, right? But at that point as well, I wasn't too practicing. I wasn't practicing the deen that much. I wasn't keeping up to my prayers properly. But I wanted to really understand what it means to be asked to put your head on the ground, what it means to worship God and who God is as well. So when I began to study Islamic theology, my first year was terrible. The grades were terrible, bro. Man, I was disappointed in myself. Second year, became a bit good. Third year was amazing. But I didn't want to become what you become when you study Islamic theology, when you study Islamic studies, where you're either a teacher or a preacher, right? So I began to preach then. I was preaching a bit, but I didn't like it. I wasn't sincere in doing it. I didn't feel the sincerity of purpose in doing that. So I totally stopped. Because I was thinking that if I want to go give a talk now, I have to make everybody feel good. I have to do this. I have to do that. So it was too extra for me. I was memorizing too much just because I need to make people happy. I need to make people, feel good in the lecture. And while I was, so I stopped giving talks in general. I canceled all lectures, no more talks in universities until I figure out myself. I said, okay, Shuraim, what do you want to do? And that was when I said, okay, fine, let me start my TV show. And I began to watch Oprah Winfrey and other shows as well, David Letterman, Steve Harvey, and the likes of it, and Jay Shetty. All these guys was watching like a lot of stuff they've done. And like, if these guys can do this stuff, I can be like them as well. And alhamdulillah, today we have a TV show quite successful is basically in 48 countries now. People watch the show. So, yeah.
Let's talk about that TV show. Did You Know Studios?
Right.
What is it? And what was your motivation behind creating it?
So when I came up with the idea of wanting to do a TV show, I was looking for what to name it. And I was like, okay, fine. So the reason I wanted to do that, the motivation for that was I didn't want to be a teacher. I didn't want to be a malam. I didn't want to go to give lectures in the masjid and the likes of it, because I felt that, okay, fine, that was for a particular group of people who have dedicated their life to study, dedicated their life to so much work in the deen, so much scholarship and everything. And I knew myself, and I felt that I'm not the kind of person that, would want to go over and over and study again. I couldn't do that, so I couldn't lie to myself. So the motivation was, okay, fine, if you can do it, get people who know this stuff, ask them questions, and then halas, put it out there for people to benefit. And that's what I began to do. And I said, okay, fine, what do I name the show? I was like, do you know? Don't you know? Do you need to know? Because I felt people didn't know much, right? So I was like, okay, do you know? Do you don't know? You have to know. And I came to the phrase, did you know with Shuraim? So it was initially, did you know with Shuraim? Until the studio grew and I became more wiser in knowledge, and I realized, I need to differentiate it. The studio needs to have a name. The show needs to have its own name as well. So I just call it, I was thinking of a name to call the show. I didn't get a name. And I called it With Shuraim. And then the others, I just said Did You Know Studios, right? So Did You Know Studios produced the show for With Shuraim. And right now, something amazing is coming up soon. And I'll just tell you here, maybe it's called Unleashed with Shuraim.
Unleashed.
We now finally have a name after a long time. Allah. So we call it Unleashed with Shuraim.
Something I found very interesting was that your very first guest was Mufti Menk. Most people wouldn't even consider reaching out to him of all people first. So we would see that as a very, very audacious and confident move to have made, when most people wouldn't even try or wouldn't even think of reaching out to someone like him, someone with that kind of status. What made you try? Like, what was running through your mind that you were like, let me reach for the biggest fish and not for like lesser known scholars?
My mom once told me that if you want to catch a fish, make sure you catch the biggest one, because when you catch the small one, it's of no benefit to anyone. So make sure you catch the biggest fish. So at that point, when I wanted to start a TV show, I made a list of scholars. I wanted to interview Mufti Menk, Bilal Phillips, Said Raghi, Asma Hakim. All these guys, I listed them. And I told a friend of mine that, I want to interview these people. I want to have them on my show. And this guy was like laughing. He was like, impossible. Really? These guys are up there. You are here. It's not going to be possible. But I believe that whatever you put your heart to, it happens. If you're focused and determined as best as possible, there's going to be a lot of work to do. There's going to be a lot of challenges. But as long as you know you want to do it, Allah makes it easy for you. And I give you an instance, right? When I messaged Mufti Menk about 100 times to be on my show, I sent a lot of emails, a lot of messages, no response at all. No response. I kept sending. And one day I realized that, okay, he was coming to Nigeria and he's going to give a talk in Kaduna. So I now spoke to four people. Please, I want to interview Mufti Menk. The first one called the call on me. The second one said, are you okay? You've never done any interview. What will it happen? The third one, he just laughed and cut the call as well. And then the fourth one said that, come to Kaduna. I'm not promising you, but, we'll speak to him. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't happen, it's up to you. And that was like a week to my exams in the university. Yeah. So I realized that, I didn't have cameras. I didn't have anything. Immediately, I called someone that I've seen online and said, please, can we partner together? Because at that point, I was learning so much online about partnership. And I said, you do the videos, you take the clips, I do the interviews. Is that all right? And he was like, yeah, no problem. We can do that. And then I came up to Abuja, took a car from Nurain down to Abuja, where, went to meet the guy. The guy came as well from Lagos to Abuja. And then we went to pray. And after we prayed, we head out to Kaduna. That was my first time in Kaduna ever. When we arrived Kaduna, we were at Murtala Square, waiting for them to tell us, okay, fine, we can now have the interviews and everything. And we got a phone call that Mufti Menk is ready for the interview now. And guess what happened? The car refused to on. Wallahi, Habib. I was so scared and I was crying. I was like, how can this not work, man? This is very important. And then I ran to a friend's house and I said, please, can I use your car? And I didn't even know Kaduna then. I didn't even know how to use the Google Map then properly. So I was like, please, can I use your car and everything? He gave me his car. He said, go do your interview. And I was going to do the interview, going to pick them from Murtala Square with the camera guys and then take them to the interview venue. I got a phone call again. And this was Mufti speaking by himself. Habibi, we've waited for you till Christmas. We've not seen you, blah, 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 blah. This is not a good thing. Bro, I broke down. And I was like, interview cancelled. And I went back to my hotel room. I cried a lot. But I actually prayed as well. And I said to Allah, if this is khair for people, if this is going to have this good, Ya Allah, you've made it not to work. That means it's not good for me. Because I had that extreme faith. Because, when your faith begins to come up, when you begin to know more about the deen, if you aren't careful, it becomes so overzealous, right? Where it becomes so strong as well. So I was praying to God, I said, okay, fine, Allah doesn't want this interview. So I'm just going to go back to Abuja the next day. So in the morning, I decided that, okay, fine, instead of going back to Abuja, at least let me benefit from the popular Mufti Menk's lecture, which I did. I went there and I listened to it, and I'm like, immediately after the lecture, I'm going to drive back to Abuja. And then when he was done with the lecture, I was about leaving the hall. I got a phone call. And the phone call was like, hello, Shuraim, are you still in Kaduna? I said, yeah. They said, Mufti Menk wants the interview. In my mind, I was like, wow, Mufti Menk wants the interview? Like, I haven't prepared anything. There's nothing. Like, what will I go and say now? And likes of it. And I even tore the paper I was supposed to ask him the day before the interview. So all the questions I wrote, I tore it away and I threw it out, right? And they said, Mufti Menk wants the interview. Immediately, I looked up at the sky and I said, I know you would do it. Thank you so much. And I went to Mufti Menk. For the first time I met him, he was so calm. We ate together and he looked at me and he said, this is your first interview? And I said, yeah, this is my first interview. My hands were shaking. And when I was coming, I actually made a gift of his name in calligraphy. So when I was giving him the gift, I was so starstruck that my hands were touching his hands, just to like, oh, this is Mufti Menk. It's going to happen. And he said, okay, fine, let's have the interview. And we sat down and we had the conversation. And it was really a beautiful conversation. And at first, I was nervous. Because that was my first interview. But you know what he said to me? He said, walk with me and I will walk with you. And I felt this calm, this ease during the interview. And yeah, that's how it happened. And it became amazing. And after that, a lot of interviews began to happen. But before that happened, guess what happened? The pictures came out. Everybody in the university was saying that Shuraim did a photo shoot for this picture. It was a
Photoshop.
Yeah, the pictures were Photoshop. It was not true. It's a lie. And people began to call me a liar. And then the most tragic thing that happened was Mufti Menk reached out that, through his admin, that, my interview with you was a highlight of my visit to Kaduna. I need the interview. And guess what? I called the guy in Lagos for the interview. Guess what he said? He said he's missing.
The guy in Lagos? Oh, he was one editing it.
The guy who had the videos. He said the videos are missing. And I was like, what am I going to do? What am I going to say? I was so emotional. I was so angry. And I went back to my hostel in university. What am I going to say to Mufti Menk? This guy would think I'm not serious. First, I missed the first day of the interview. Second, now the clips is missing and everything. What am I going to say? Da, da, da. And I got another message again. Waiting. And I, what am I going to say to this guy? Immediately, I remembered that there was a time I took the long shot of the interview and put it in my laptop. That's why I tell you I hate long shots. You remember? I don't like long shot. So I took the long shot of that interview and I kept it. And I remembered, oh, I had a long shot. I took it. I checked my laptop and I saw the long shot. I was like, Alhamdulillah. And I messaged to shukr to Allah. Like, I'm so excited. And I messaged them and I explained everything. I went to like, oh, should I lie to them and tell them that the interview is, they said the editing is not good. I said, okay, fine. Sorry, this is what happened. The other shot I'm missing, but I have the long shot. Do you mind? They said, don't worry, send it. I sent it to them, and guess what happened immediately? Mufti Menk uploaded that interview on his page. And boom, everyone said, he really interviewed him. I went back to my room. I cried a lot. I love to cry, and I'm not going to cry on your show. So I went back to my room and I cried, and I was really grateful that it happened. And people were impacted because what we discussed was interaction between non-Muslims and Muslims. That was what I asked them. Because at that point, that was over my head. Like, how can we live together in harmony, in self-respect? If you're a non-Muslim and I'm a Muslim, whatever the religion you practice, how can I respect you first as a human being and before I see you as other things as well? So yeah, it went really viral. It was really good. And that's how the Genius Studios came about. That's how the show came about. And that's how everything I've been doing, alhamdulillah, till date, it happened. And that's how my relationship with Mufti Menk started.
Just for context, so people who don't know what long shot is, that's like the angle of you and the guest. You've hosted a lot of influential people on your platform. Mufti Menk, you've already mentioned, Omar Suleiman, Sheikh Hasim, Sheikh Aminu Daurawa, and so many more. What has been the most impactful interview for him?
I'm not going to mention names, but almost all the interviews that you see I put out there are impactful simply because those who aren't impactful, I don't post them. I've done like almost 20 interviews that I've not posted because I didn't feel it. Like, I didn't feel the sincerity of purpose in it. I didn't feel the message was relevantly timely to the people that we're going to listen to. So what I always realize is that when I want to post a video, I say millions of people are going to watch this. It's going to go places that I don't even know. How beneficial will it be? Will it change the life of even one person? Will it change my life if I was in that situation? If it wouldn't, then sometimes I don't even post them. People get angry at that, but I tell them sorry. But I interview people and I don't post the interviews because I don't think it's impactful. I don't think it's going to make any change in the community. I regret my actions. You might find fault in that. But I look at the people who I don't know but trust me. You get my point, right? People who I don't know, I've never met but trust my platform. So I think that I need to give them the best of the best. So all the people I've interviewed and I've put out there, they inspired me a lot with what they said during the interview. And they spoke from the heart and I felt it in my heart. So by extension, I feel that everyone who watches it might benefit one or two things in it. So for me, I've interviewed a lot of influential people as well that I did not post them. Recently, we've noticed I've gone into business, I've gone into politics and lifestyle as well. And I've interviewed a lot of influential people who I felt that it was just more of like talking about things that will not be relevant. I didn't post it. So for me, all the interviews I've posted, I think that stand out the most for me, and that's why I post them. And those that I didn't post don't stand out the most for me. Simple.
What does that look like? Like, if you do a 2-hour interview with somebody and you don't like the interview, how does that whole process of turning down posting it online, like not posting it online, look like? Like, how do you explain it to the guest that you had on?
So sometimes I just tell them that, sorry, I don't think that our conversation was good enough. So one thing with introvert is that we're too direct, unfortunately. So I just tell them that it wasn't good enough. I don't think the information you gave was relevantly timely. I don't think it's useful. I don't think it's going to change lives. So Perhaps we do another one some other time.
Has anyone ever accepted coming back on after you told them?
No, I don't invite them back. Yeah, I don't invite them back.
What does your interview preparation process look like? Like, what's your behind the scenes when it comes to preparing for interviews?
So for me personally, I think the behind the scenes is I see a person and I listen to what they say. Either I go to a talk now or maybe a seminar and I see them talking, or I read a book about what they've wrote, what they've written, or something amazing that they have done, or something that they're doing, whether they are popular or not popular. And I just feel, oh, these people need to be on the show. Let me just speak to them, get a lot of information from them. So instead of me going to meet them in their office, say, oh, tell me about yourself. How about I bring you on camera and tell me about yourself? Tell me about what you've done, how amazing that has happened. So what I do is that I make my research about them. I ask them questions. Do you think that there are things you want me to know about you? Can you send me these and these and these? I do proper research on that. And when I do that, and I speak to the person, message them personally, and tell them, please, I want to have you on my show. Are you ready to come on the show? And they're like, yeah, we're ready. We're excited to come on the show. I'm like, okay, fine, we'll fix the time. And they come. So there's no much process. Identify the person. If they're going to be good for the show, sometimes I identify the wrong person because people can fake so well. So you identify the right person. And if you identify the wrong person, then I don't even post the interview because you never know the wrong person. Sometimes, right? So sometimes when I get the interview, I get the person, make my research, fix it for the interview, and I watch the interview. Is it worthy or not? If it is, then I post it. If it's not, then I apologize. And that's it. That's just the simple. Yeah.
Besides attending talks, how else do you find guests for your shows?
So I think from recommendations as well from people. My best friend always recommends a lot of people to me. So I didn't used to like politics at all. I don't like politics. I don't like going too close to politics, right? But recently I realized that politics plays a major role in shaping our community, in shaping our, the individuals, all of us basically. It has a great impact. And I'm like, okay, fine, I'm going to have my political talk. I recently had just one. First time having an active politician. Of course, we have application from people whereby they want you to interview them, they are politicians, but we still turn them down. But my friend recommended that, okay, fine, interview A, B, C, and D, interview them and the likes of it. And so I was able to relieve that, mentality that say I'm not going to interview politicians. But I realized, okay, fine, they have their own perspective as well. Have them on the show, ask them questions, right? If it's good, halas you post. If it's not good, halas don't post it. It's simple as that. So I began that as well and likes of it, and it really went well.
What was the most surprising lesson you've learned since you started doing interviews?
I think from all of my interviews, what I've gained, and very surprising, is the people you didn't think are amazing are actually the most amazing people. They're the most soft-hearted, kind-hearted people. All you need to do is to have a conversation with them. And I've gotten to see people for who they are just by sitting with them for 1 hour. Looking at their heart, looking at them speak to me about what they've done, how they've done it, and what they intend to do, just by sitting with them. So for me, every time in the world we live in today, everyone criticizes people. Everyone say, this person has done A, B, C, and D. This person is this person is that. But we always forget that these people also have the good part in them, and they are amazing in their own way. And you just need to have a conversation with them. And sometimes you don't even know a person, and you speak terrible things about them. So for me, I realized that every human has been blessed by the Almighty with some certain specialty. You just need to find it. And if you don't find it, perhaps you're not that special as well. Because I feel that the better the kind of person you become, the better the kind of people you attract, and the better the kind of people you meet. So we just need to have conversations with these people and understand where they're coming from. So one of the lessons I've learned is that don't judge people. Don't judge people just by what others will say. Try to listen to them, try to have conversations with them, and it's amazing. For me, the Quran says, لَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ, we've honored the son of man, the son of Adam. And it never stand out the most for me until when I began to interview people. Indeed, Allah has honored mankind, and every man has a specialty. We might not be the same, we might not do the same things, but at least respect what I do, even if you don't understand it. And if you don't understand it, be decent enough to ask questions. So yeah, the most surprising thing, people are amazing. Compared to what we say, people say, "Kai, people, then you say a hand kill." Nah, bro. In English, they say, people are terrible. But nah, bro. You just haven't had the conversation with them. And everyone has their bad side. Everyone has that side whereby, they're not proud of. They don't want other people to know. And if you're fortunate enough to know about that bad side, don't criticize them. Yours is still hidden. No one knows yet.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the most amazing thing I've learned.
It's funny you say that because I've been in that spot where, like, for most of my life, I had a default of just disliking people. And I remember there was a podcast. I'm not sure if you know the boxer Israel Adesanya. Yes, he UFC fighter. So I always saw him as this cocky, arrogant, irritating guy. And then one day I saw him on Diary of a CEO podcast with Stephen Bartlett. And when I heard him share his story, I was like, it's so interesting that I could never see this side of him. Like, a side of him that I could relate to, a side of him that I found.
Because all you see is in the media, bro.
Exactly. It's like the media just shows you the villainous side of him.
Exactly.
But then when you hear him in a podcast sharing his thoughts, I was like, this guy is actually a good guy. Like, he's not, I don't know all his values, but what he shared on the podcast, though, I was like, oh, he's not as bad as I've been, perceiving him to be. Yeah. If there was someone listening to this podcast episode right now and wanted to get started on the same path as you, what advice would you give them?
I think the first advice is know who you are. Right? Know who you are, know your capacity, know what you can do. By knowing who you are, you understand what you'll be able to handle. Just because someone is doing something doesn't mean that you can do the same thing as well. So if you don't enjoy it, don't do it. That's what I tell people. I enjoy podcasts. I enjoy doing interviews. I love it. And I just want to have a conversation with people. That's why I feel very not comfortable sitting at the other side, right? I'm not the one asking you these questions, right? And then you're the one asking the question. But I love what I do. So if you don't love what you do and you just think, oh, because this person is doing this, I want to also do this as well, then at the point you're going to fall. And guess what? The media business, the show-making business, if you're not interested genuinely in it, it falls. You're going to stop. I give you 20 episodes. Do 20 episodes if you can, right? If you can't do 20 episodes, then that is not for you.
Yeah, I think there's a saying that podcasters quit. Is it before the 20th or something?
A lot of podcasts.
Yeah, around the 20th episode.
Way before the 20th.
Yeah, before the 20th.
And I feel that it's not because of the interest. If you have interest in it, right, you will want to do it. And for you to have interest in it, there must be a deeper purpose to your why you're doing it. Now, if you know who you are, then your why becomes easy. But if you don't know who you are, your whys become very difficult because you want to live a lie. And that's what most people are doing today. People are living a lie. People just want to feel, oh, I want to feel among, right? And when I tell people that, oh, I did Islamic theology, but I didn't want to be a scholar. They say, you want to be a scholar? Hey! And I like, see, this is what I want. This is me. It's my life. It might not be conventional. Everybody will say, oh, I want to be a sheikh. Oh, no. People don't say they want to be sheikhs, right? But you never hear someone say, I don't want to be a sheikh. You get that? Everybody's like, okay, mashallah, don't say that thing because if you say that people think you're bad. But I don't want to be that, right? Yes, I have proper and deeper understanding, alhamdulillah, to a certain extent of the deen. But I don't want to be a scholar. So don't call me a scholar. Don't call me a sheikh. Don't call me an ustaz. It's the path I have chosen to have conversations with people, to unleash their innermost potential. By extension, other people benefited to become the better version of themselves, right? So I will advise that anyone who's watching this interview now, whatever you want to do, know who you are. Right? Understand your capacity, understand what you enjoy to do the most, right? And if you understand it, then it'll be easier for you to follow the steps. And I don't think it's like a straightforward thing for everyone. Everyone has how they do their shows, You can choose the fine. It's so simple for me. Click the camera, and that's it. And you have a beautiful show that will benefit millions of people, right? So, and that comes only from when it's from the heart. Because over the past few years, I realized that bro, what doesn't come from the heart doesn't go to the heart. You're just wasting your time.
What doesn't come from your heart doesn't go to the hearts of other people.
Yeah, because you're just wasting your time. Because you're living a lie, you're forcing it. And what you force every day by day, you're going to get tired. Normally, if you don't even force it, you get tired and I I've had like 29 podcasts. I need to take a rest. Like you get tired. Now imagine that you don't like it, and then you keep doing it.
Yeah, you burn out.
Bro, you're gonna burn out a lot, right? And when you burn out, you're gonna fall. And when you fall, you're gonna fall hard. And then you begin to think that you don't have a purpose in life. No, you have a purpose in life, but just not that particular thing you're doing. So yeah, whoever is watching this, just be sincere to yourself as best as possible. Speak truth to yourself and know what you can handle, as long as it's in line with, whatever you believe in, as long as it's in line with your faith and doesn't transgress the set limit of your faith. Do it the way you did in the best of ways.
You said know who you are is the first step.
Yeah.
How does someone know who they are?
So I think how you know who you are, that's a very difficult question. I don't think there's one answer to it, but it is more of what you're more inclined to do.
Okay, so how did you discover who you are?
So I decipher who I am because of the natural interest in me. Now, knowing who you are does not come like, oh, I'll sit down. I don't know who I am. Who am I? Or you look at the mirror and say, oh, who am I? I'm Shuraim. Oh, I will be able to do. No. It's basically interest. What do you like to watch the most? I was watching them, Oprah, them David Lasserman, and all these guys, because I love it so much. And I'm like, okay, if they can do this, I can also do the same as well. If they can do this, there was a time I saw Stephen Harvey, and I said, okay, if this guy is black, I'm black too. So I can do like him, inshallah. And I get the concept. So I was able to do that. So I think for you to know yourself is for you to look at the things you're much more interested in. And how can you make that work for you? And then if you're not interested in those stuff, and if it's not going to benefit people, then I don't think there's a point doing it. And sometimes you might want to do something different. And that's why I tell a lot of people, so I find people that do business. Some people ain't cut out for business. It's not them. They can do business. They are not entrepreneurs. But what they are cut out for most is to go work in a government parastatal, in a private sector.
In a government what?
Government parastatal.
Okay.
In a private sector, and then they pay them money, right? They give them a bit of money and the likes of it, and then they're happy. That's how they can live their life, and that's who they are. So don't just do things because others are doing it, but find that purpose within yourself, right? What you do regularly, what do you enjoy the most? And that's how I see you will know yourself. What do people even say about you, your close friends? Oh, Nurain, you're so good in speaking. Nurain, you're so good in this. And people keep saying all those stuff. Now, when the people are telling you all these things, that you're good in a particular thing, then focus on it and look at, oh, am I really good in this thing? And that's how you begin to know yourself. Because sometimes you can't scratch your back. Those who will help you scratch your back are those who love you, who are sincerely there for you, right? So when your friends tell you, oh, Shuraim, you're good at this, and somebody tells you you're good at this, and a stranger comes, you're good at this, oh, you're good at it, then look into it, write it down. Write it down. So, okay, fine, people say this, am I really good at this? And then begin to work on that. That is, I think, a step for you to begin to know who you are.
What were some of the initial challenges you faced when setting Did You Know Studios up, and how did you overcome them?
I think the first challenge is finance. Yeah, finance was crazy, man. So I overcame that by putting mechanisms that could work and working with people that I wasn't paying at that moment, but were partnering in some certain level. So I give them, they give me. You understand my point? Because at that point, I didn't have the huge money to pay them. I didn't have the cameras. I was borrowing cameras for a long time before I got my own cameras as well. I was borrowing cameras from a long time. Okay, please, I need your camera. I have this interview. Okay, this is this. How much can I pay? Okay, you can use this of mine. I can help you do this. I can help you get this. Okay, and then it made it work. So finance was one of the problems. Second thing was people. People are terrible. Until I realized in my interviews that people are amazing, right? Now, how do I get to know that? People come to you and they say, oh, we love what you do, want to assist you, want to help you, want to be there for you. But they are not sincere. So you give them your heart, but the long run, they disappoint you. Because your expectation of them was high based on what they said to you. So I learned now that when people come to you, take them the way they are. So even when they disappoint you, you don't feel extremely bad.
You were expecting it.
Yeah, you were expecting it. And I tell my friends, I say, I expect the most terrible thing to happen. They say, how can you be expecting the most terrible thing to happen in every situation? I say, so I won't be surprised. It helps my mental state, right? It helps my, this could happen. These interviews we are having now, okay, light might go off, something might happen, right? So if it happened, I'm not surprised. It was meant to happen. I don't get the concept. So things are meant to happen. So when people came, to me then and said, oh, I want to work with you and the likes of it, and a lot of people who were, above my age, some even came and said, okay, fine, let's want to be part of your company. And they were bringing in too many requests on this is what we need to do, this is what we need to do, and the likes of it. And at that point, the only one who helped me out of all this stuff was my best friend. He was like, nah, he's a lawyer. And he was like, no, don't do this. This is going to affect you in the future. This is going to do this to you in the future. This is going to help. This is not going to help you. And I'm like, okay, fine. If you say this, I'm not going to do this, right? I'm going to do what you asked me to do. Because you're a lawyer. You have more knowledge than I do. And I took all this into, into consideration. And I got to realize that a lot of people that, you think have the best interest for you do not really have your best interest. As soon as you're done serving their interest, then they'll go away. And then you're just left alone. So one of the biggest issues I had was the people around me at that point. Because everybody was coming, let's be on your show, showing that love, care. And the most terrible category of people are those that are knowledgeable, kind-hearted, and they look as if they are kind-hearted, come to you with the most softest of words, and they're like, oh, don't worry, but they're the highest level of manipulators. They will manipulate you, turn your head, and you think that these people care about you, and before you know it, they drop you like a mic, whoop, and then they move on to the next step. And that's happened to me. So I tell a lot of people that a lot of people who want your best interest, learn to decipher people who want your best interest. Do they really want your best interest? Or really they have something they're looking for?
Personal interest.
Personal interest. If it's their personal interest, I don't mind being used, but I do not like to be abused. Do you understand? So I don't mind you use me, right? I don't mind. Like the Lord created me for me to be used. I don't mind. People say I'm your friend too because I like you. I want to get money from you. I don't mind. But don't just abuse it.
So it's like you can be useful to this person, but you don't want them to take advantage
Don't take
of that.
advantage of it. Don't abuse the opportunity. Because what happened at that moment is I will shut you out in a way that you might even doubt your existence. And I'll shut you out in the most easier, because that's what makes it easy for me. You're not going to get the concept. So people, played a major role in that. And then the third thing is getting demotivated in the process. Sometimes, when I was posting videos there, I just feel like, oh, this is not nice. I'm overdoing it. Somebody would say, oh, you sit down this way, you talk this way, you did this. So people kept complaining and left, right, and center. And so you feel demotivated sometimes, and then you stop a particular time. And during my course of my TV show, there was time I left Nigeria for 3 months, down to Sudan, to spend 3 months to study poetry, just clear my head, no interviews, nothing. And that was the best year of my life, the best 3 months of my life. Why? Because I got to know the kind of person I am more and how to also face challenges. Because one of the biggest challenges, again, I began to face was to hear somebody say something about me that I didn't say. This person would say this Shuraim did this. People were judging my intentions for why I do what I do. And I'm like, really? You don't know me? Like, how are you judging my intention? People said, oh, no, you. So this is how it happened. People say I interview only international speakers, scholars. It became a big thing, right? I began to interview the local scholars. People say he's only interviewing local scholars that are popular. I'm like, hey, what do you want me to do? I began to interview people who aren't popular. People say I'm just interviewing them for interviews. So I got to realize that people will always talk, and people will keep talking. And, in this popularity drill, it's a crazy one. So I had to build like a thick skin when I travel to Sudan and come back really fully ready. I'm not going to take what you say. Don't come tell me what someone say. I'm not going to listen and just keep everything to yourself. I'm going to do what I want to do as best as I can, and I will try as much as possible to be sincere to the one whom I serve. So yeah, basically that's the 3 things.
Would you say you were a people pleaser?
So I've never been a people pleaser, and that's why I've always been in too much trouble with too many people. Right? I'm in trouble with too many people because I'm too direct. Right? I can't just sit down and say, oh, no, let me just do this. No, I'd rather you leave, man. I end the relationship. I'd rather, we don't talk anymore. That's you guys, it's no more working. So I can't be pretending and say, oh, Nurain, how are you? While in my heart, I'm like, oh, I just want to shoot your head. So what I do normally is like, I realize this is the problem, and I find a way out, and I move on. So I have never been a people pleaser, and I wish I was for a bit. I wouldn't be in so many problems I am in now. I've been into organizations where I see they do things the wrong way, and I try to bring it out in the limelight. And it was a big thing, a big issue, whereby I was called and I was the only one sitting, and there were like a lot of people, okay, we are here to judge you. Get my point? So for me, I'm not a people pleaser, and I'm glad about that. And at the same time, I wish I was a little bit, because it would have made me not have too many enemies. But alhamdulillah, we try to be respectful as best as possible to humanity, and as much as possible to be sincere in whatever we do.
I want to go back a bit to what you said about getting people to work for you for free. How can someone go about that? Because it seems like if you tell someone, like, I have this vision, come and help me, but I can't pay you, they don't see a reason to help you.
So I think people don't look at what people do today is they look at the person they are working for, not the vision. Because if they believe in the vision, they believe that you can bring out that vision, it's easy for them to work with you. And a lot of people who ask for this stuff do not have an interpersonal skill of dealing with people. So you don't know how to deal with people, you don't know how to talk to people, you don't know how to psychologically, engage with people, you don't know what their temperament is and everything. You just want to tell them, hey, this is what we're doing, come join me, and the likes of it. It's not going to work like that. But if people believe in what you believe in, it makes it easier for them to work with you. And also, if they are learning from you, it makes it easier for them to work with you. I work with people for 8 years, 9 years, and we'll be doing the same thing together. Why? Because we look out for each other. It's not like, oh, no, you come in, you have to work for me. You don't come. No. You have to make sure that you entertain all their faults in the process. Understand where they are coming from as well. Understand their background, and to make it easier for all of you to live together. It's like a marriage. Marriage is never perfect. But if you guys can live together, understand, okay, this is what we need to do because there's a greater goal, then everyone becomes happy. But if all the parties don't understand why you're doing what you're doing, no one is going to help you. But if they see a bigger goal in it, they believe in your dream, they will work with you. They will assist you. They will build. Why? Because you're a good person, and that's why you have a very good vision. And because you're a good person and you have a good vision, that means you'll be good to them and you will help them as well grow.
So it's like they understand your why.
They understand your why ultimately, and even sometimes more than you do.
It's kind of like, I'm not sure if you read the book. I think I saw it in your house.
Start with White?
Yes.
Yeah, Simon Sinek's.
Yes. He shared Martin Luther King's speech.
Yeah.
And basically what you're saying aligns with that speech. Yeah. People did not come for him. They came because they all shared the same why.
100%.
And they were willing to support that cause because that why was very solid for them.
Now, I've done a lot of podcasts, a lot of interviews for a long time. Why am I in your interview? Because I believe in your vision. I see that, okay, fine, this is a good thing that should be to have a conversation with. I feel shy talking about myself. I feel shy talking about things I do or what I've done, right? But it's always when people believe in you. And that's why for anyone who runs a TV show or you're an influencer or whatever, you need to understand that these people that you're giving this content are human beings. And they are learning from you. And Allah has chosen you to come and serve them, to pass information that are good. So you must take this very serious. You must take it serious. And when people see this, people see right through your sincerity.
Yeah.
They see right through your sincerity. So those who are pure-hearted will, gravitate towards you and say, okay, how can we help you, Nurain? What can we do for you? How can we be there for you? And hence you find that. But if you're not sincere, you're just that kind of person, you're not sincere, you don't have good interpersonal skill of dealing with people, you're always very angry, you're so needy, okay, who will come close to you? They will run away.
I feel like there will be a select number of people listening to this podcast who have tried to get people to believe in them, but people just don't. How can we increase the chances? Because obviously there's no guaranteed formula that everyone will believe in you, but how do we increase the chances that someone will believe in us to the point that they're willing to support us all the way?
I think it goes back to my first answer, which is believe in yourself, and the others will believe in you. If you don't believe in yourself, why will I believe in you? If you don't know your why will I want to, help you with your why? If your why is staggering, why would I want to help you with your why or to waste my time? But if you're able to find your why, you're able to understand the kind of person you are, then you gravitate people, and people begin to come. People begin to come. And when you understand that one hand does not clap, you understand that one broom doesn't sweep the ground, and you understand that, you can't see the frame if you're at the picture, then people will come to you. Because I always tell a lot of people that, Every young person needs someone take them so within them so they cannot go by themselves. Someone who has been there, done that. Well, how can you get to that place where you have someone who has been there, done that, to be there for you, to assist you to become the best version of yourself, is only when you're able to convince them that your why is worth their time. But if your why is not worth their time, then you're just wasting your time as well. So you'll be thinking, oh, the world doesn't like me, people don't like me. No, you don't like yourself in the first place. Because if you like yourself, you build yourself. If you love yourself, you will make sure that you get the necessary knowledge that's needed for you to achieve whatever you want to achieve. And when you do that, people will respect that. People will respect hustle. So you don't hustle. You just say, oh, you want people to help you. How the Jannah will they help you, brother? They're not going to help you. They're not going to reach out to you. But once they see what you're doing, and that's why whatever you're doing, you're going to have haters, and you're going to also have those who love you, as long as you find your why. Now, for the haters, they will keep hating because they understand the impact of your why. But guess what? Like now, you're in this show. You've been doing like a lot of amazing things with the Ultimate Growth Hub and likes of it. You're doing like a lot of talks online, likes of it. Why are people following you? Do they know you personally? Do they come and do they know where you're from? They don't even care where you're from. It's the message that they're looking for. It's the message that changes their lives, right? And did you work hard to get to this stage that you are? Yes, you did. If not, you wouldn't be in the stage that you are today. So if they just wake up and say, oh, I want to start a blog. Hello, everyone. Just be a good person. People are not going to listen. Why? Because you just woke up in the night and just say you want to say something. But you've worked hard. You've seen how to do it. You've seen, okay, what are the processes you're going to take, what you need to read, who are the people you need to meet, who you have in conversation. Bro, all these processes, this is a lot of work. And you think that Allah is not merciful enough to crown your effort by not bringing the right people to you? If you aren't having the right people at this moment, then I think you should check yourself first and Allah make it easy.
Throughout your journey, what would you say has been your favorite failure? One that you felt, if this didn't happen, I wouldn't be where I am today.
Come again, favorite failure?
Favorite failure.
Wow. That's a very deep question. I've never thought about that. So I think not focusing too much in school.
Not focusing
Too much in school.
in school.
Yeah. It affected me. It's a failure. I wasn't too good in school, but it made me focus on what I really wanted. For instance, in the university, I wasn't a bookworm. I wasn't reading my courses, tried to make good grades and everything. I wasn't after that. In fact, I didn't even think of me needing to get a very good grade. So I didn't get a very good grade. The first year of my university was terrible. Second year, terrible. Third year, manageable. Fourth year, I graduated, just go home, and that's it. And I was happy with that. But that was one of the failures that happened, but I'm proud that it happened because it made me the kind of person I am today. And at that point, I was able to find myself. At that point, I was able to make as much decision as possible and start up my TV show as well and likes of it. And I think that if I had focused too much on schooling, and then I don't think I'll be where I am today. I'm not saying people shouldn't focus on school. And as I said earlier in the interview, you have to choose your path, what works for you. And this worked for me. Yeah.
If I was a fly on the wall on a normal day in your life, what would I see?
You're going to see the best interior. Well, yeah. What you're going to see always is keep pushing. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. People will not understand where you're coming from. People will misunderstand where you're coming from. But as long as one person is you're making an impact in one person's life, that is enough.
Are these quotes that I see on the wall?
Yeah.
Oh.
These are quotes. I used to have quotes in my ceilings before. So when I lie down, I say, everything's going to be all right, Shuraim, don't worry. And I wake up in the morning, I go to the mirror and I'm like, Shuraim, everything's going to be all right, okay? I'm like, yeah, everything's going to be all right. Are you okay today? I'm like, are you sad? I don't know if I'm sad, but yeah, I might be happy today. All right, smile, go out and do what you can do. So yeah, if you're a fly, which you're not,
I watched your TED Talk and there were two main things that you focused on, self-discovery and spirituality. Now, I think we've already spoken a lot about self-discovery, knowing who you are. What inspired you to pursue this path of spirituality?
I think a lot of people think that to attain spirituality, you need to forget your humanness. But attain spirituality for me means that you need to accept how vulnerable you are, how of a nothing you are, and it brings you closer to Allah or closer to God that you serve. And for me, the spirituality level with my connection with Allah has helped me so much. Not that I'm a perfect person, I make a lot of mistakes, but I know that every time I come, I have an open space to talk to Allah, right? There's some amazing verses in the Quran that every day they're just amazing. And whenever for instance, now if I do like a big mistake, right? I remember this verse where Allah says that, قُلْ يَا عِبَادِي الَّذِينَ أَسْرَفُوا عَلَىٰ أَنفُسِهِمْ لَا تَقْنَطُوا مِنْ رَحْمَةِ اللَّهِ. Now Allah is saying, when my servant sins against me. See, he's not even saying if, right? See, the choice of words are amazing. He said, when you sin against me, when you transgress against me, never ever lose hope in my mercy. Never ever. Listen, never. It isn't never, right? He said, never ever lose hope in my mercy. For I will forgive your sins. The Prophet said that if you don't sin, I will replace you with those, Allah will replace you with those who will sin.
Yeah.
And the Prophet also said that كُلُّ بَنِي آدَمْ خَطَّاءٌ وَالْخَيْرُ خَطَّانَ التَّوَّابُونَ. All the sons of Adam commit mistake, but the best of them are those who turn back to Allah. And that's where I got the quote where I said that a lot of people think that attaining spirituality means you need to forget your humanness. But here the Prophet is telling you to appreciate your humanness. You're human, right? So for me, spirituality has been deep for me because I understand what I read. I read the Quran and understand exactly what I'm reading, right? I'm not going to have any scholar come tell me, hey, this is what you should do, blah, 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 blah. No, I have this knowledge as well. I've learned it, and to the best of my ability, I have what I can, live my life properly. Another amazing verse in the Quran is in Surah Al-Baqarah, where Allah says, وَإِذَا سَأَلَكَ عِبَادِي أَنِّي فَإِنِّي قَرِيبٌ أُجِيبُ دَعْوَةَ الدَّاعِ إِذَا دَعَانِ, right? Allah said, when my servant asks about me, this is my favorite verse. He said, when my servant asks about me, فَإِنِّي قَرِيبٌ. In other part of the Quran, you know what Allah says? He says, قُلْ فَإِنِّي قَرِيبٌ. Tell them I am close to them. In this part, Allah did not say tell them. He said, I am close to you. You get me? And He said that I respond to the call of the caller when he calls on me. Imagine, it's so beautiful how Allah words it, that He put the answer first before even the question. I respond to the call of the caller when he calls on me. Well, Allah said, what? فَلْيَسْتَجِيبُوا لِي. Like when I call on you, answer me as well. SubhanAllah. And let me tell you something very amazing, and how human we are, but we not realize, and we put so much pressure on ourselves. In Arabic, ujibu and astajibu mean the same thing. Ujibu means answer. Astajibu means answer, but the application is different. If I say, Nurain, and you say, yes, that is ujibu. You answer very fast, right? Astajibu means Nurain. Shuraim. Slowly. So look at the use of word here. In the first one, Allah said, ujibu dawata. I respond to the comment. Allah respond what? Very fast. In the second part, Allah said, فَلْيَسْتَجِيبُوا لِي. But at least when I call you, respond. You know why? He used that word there. Because human beings are fickle-minded. We are weak. Right? When Allah calls and calls, because we are created to become sinners. We are like sinners. So your effort to become a good person is what Allah wants. Your effort to always go back to Him, where you make a mistake, is what Allah wants. So for me, spirituality has been that me being human, I meet my mistakes, I admit everything I do, I admit all the crazy stuff I do, but yeah, I know that Allah is still there for me if I seek His repentance, and I don't care what people say, I don't care what people want to judge me as, I just want to make sure that my relationship with Allah, the one whom I serve, is in the best of ways, and I do my best to that. So spirituality plays a major role in my life.
What advice would you give someone struggling with their spirituality?
I have a lot to say, but I'm going to cut it short. I think first of all, you need to know who Allah is. Yeah. A lot of people don't know Allah. A lot of people just say Allah, they pray 5 times, they fast, but they don't know who Allah is. They don't study the names of Allah, how merciful He is, how compassionate He is. The Prophet said Allah is so merciful than even your mother. You know what that means? Like He loves you so much, He's there for you. But most people don't really feel that because they don't know Allah. So if you're struggling with spirituality, try to know who Allah is from the right kind of people. Like, okay, fine, how can I know Allah? Who is Allah? What are His names? And I want to say this to people. If you have doubt in Allah, if you have doubt in your spirituality, open up and ask questions. Yeah. If you don't believe in Allah, actually, if you're having doubt in Allah, open up and on, ask questions to the right people. And what do we tell to the scholars? When people come with this kind of question, don't be judgmental and say, hey, you're going to Jahannam. Hey. No. This is the human part of them. There are two categories of people. Those who have doubt and they're seeking for knowledge and clarity, these are the good people, right? And those who have doubt but they are arrogant to learn, I don't care, I just want to live my life, then these are the people that have the biggest of problems. But if you have doubt, maybe you have an issue with your prayers, you're having issues with this and that, feel free to speak to a person and get more clarification. You get my point? Nothing is wrong in getting clarification about your faith if you have an issue with it. But something is wrong when you're arrogant and not wanting to get clarification. And the first thing first is for you to know Allah, understand what He has asked you to do. And with that, you'll be able to love Him, and serving Him will become easy peasy like eating macaroni.
What has been your darkest day? And how did you turn the light on?
My darkest day and how I turned the light off.
And turn the light on.
Turn the light on. Yeah.
The light is already off. I'm looking for the switch to turn it on.
So my darkest day, wow, I have to think a lot. I think my darkest day usually is whenever I remember my dad. Yeah, like I mourn him. As I said earlier, that I still do mourn him. So every time I remember, it's so dark for me, and I'm like, wow, I would have been much more greater maybe if he was around. I would have been much more wiser. How do I turn the light on? I realized that he's not going to come back. I realized that, yeah, he's gone. I need to move on. And voila, the light are on.
Allah grant him Jannah.
I mean,
what is something you thought would make you happy when you were younger, but now that you're much older and more experienced, it didn't?
Money. Yeah,
It's funny you say that. The previous guest said the same thing.
Yeah, money, bro. I thought I made so much money, I was gonna be so happy, go everywhere. So I just feel that money is a means to an end, but doesn't make you extremely happy. It might facilitate the happiness process. But you know what really makes me happy? Is seeing my friends so happy. Seeing the people I love around me so happy. Like me solving their problems. You know, you get the concept, right? So in some instance, money might help with that. Whereby you have the money and you give to these people, but it's not the money that's making you happy. It's the feeling you get from doing that action that makes you happy. So yeah, money doesn't. It has been. I used to think that if I was rich, I had an iPad, an Apple Watch, an Apple what they call it, an Apple laptop, an Apple iPad, Apple everything. I'm gonna be the happiest guy. And there was this desk I used to see online for a long time. This is when I was in university, and I have it now. And I see if I have this desk, I'm going to be the happiest guy. Now I have it. Am I still the happiest guy? Not really. You know, my car, like I screenshot my car. So usually when I like something, I screenshot it. So I screenshot my car. I got the car. And I'm like, see, if I get this car, I'll be so excited. I'll be so happy. I'll go here. Hey, Habibi, the car came. But no. My house as well gives me comfort, the likes of it. But still, there's just something missing. So what money can buy for you sometimes doesn't give you a lot of happiness, but the feeling of the process, like what happened in between, is what gives you happiness. See my friend now call me and say, "Shura, I'm so happy for what you did. You're so nice and everything." Oh, it gives me so much joy. Being there for my friends as best as possible in their darkest time, it gives me so much joy. Sometimes I even told a friend of mine that I think I'm selfish. And he was like, "Why do you think you're selfish?" I said, "You being happy makes me feel selfish. Like, I want to just make you happy so that I will just be happy myself as well." Right? But these are what makes me happy. So money was one of the things I thought was going to really put me up there, but nah.
You said something was missing.
Yeah.
What do you feel is missing?
Contentment. Contentment is always missing. I think contentment, you just don't get it like that. You learn to build it in yourself. When you build contentment, then you'll be the happiest person. You'll be happy because anything that happens, you're like, "Oh, so what? A new iPhone is out, I can afford it, so what? I will use my iPhone 6. right? Because you're content, you're happy. And when you're content, it gives you this izzah. What I mean by izzah, it gives you this honor, whereby you walk with your chest up high. You ain't owing no one. You're not trying to please nobody. But today, you wanna buy the latest car, buy the latest, just for people to see, yeah, Shuraim has this, Shuraim has that. Okay, really. They say that, they gossip about you at the end. They say that, they insult you behind your back, right? And later you can come and say, this person say A, B, C, and D about you, and you're angry. These guys are jealous. Yeah, they are jealous. But what really makes you happy is that contentment. But you're content with what you have, the little you have, the friends that you have, the relationship that you've built over the past few years. This, for me, I think is what is missing. A lot of people, it was a struggle for me to be content. But right now, I can comfortably tell you that I'm so much content with so many things I do have. Like recently, I check my wardrobes and I see like a lot of clothes there, and I'm like, I need to wear one color of clothes. I'm tired of all this clothes. Friday, I just wear a black cap, man. Like, those are an easy black cap. I just pick the black. It's not really expensive, right? But it looks good on me, does it?
Yeah, it does.
You see, I don't pick the cup and I put the cup, and I'm content with that. I don't care what you think. I'm not going to go buy 20,000 cups, right? Just to wear everyone a different day. Not that it's wrong to do that. But personally, this makes me happy. Like, I'm content with the fact that I'm wearing a black cap on a blue cloth. You get my point? As I don't do designs on my clothes because I just feel that it's too much of a... So before, bro, I wear a cloth, it must match with the cap, the clothes, the shoe, everything was matched. But still, I wasn't happy. But now I'm much more happier, living in a more simple life. I bought a designer watch recently as well. When I went out, bro, I was feeling so not comfortable. I was so uncomfortable. Not that it's bad to wear designer watch, but I realized that I've built that contentment process to a level that some things don't entice me anymore. At all. I broke my phone recently, and I'm like, so what? I tell you something, Nurain. There's a level of contentment you reach. That bad things will happen to you that is considered by other people considered as bad things, but to you is like, so what? The next process. Someone hit my car, it came out, and I said, that's no problem. And she was surprised, like, why? Because in my mind, I was like, what am I going to say? If the car has been hit, what do you want me to do? Move on to the next thing. And there's some things that people don't find a lot of people find very strange. Like right now, somebody needs money, you want to help them if you can. Right? It gives you so much contentment. Some people say, don't give your last kobo. I believe in giving my last kobo because it makes me happy. Right? Because it makes me so much happy. So I think contentment is very important, and having contentment makes life way easier.
Yeah. Funny, it's like, as you were mentioning that, I just remember, like, in my life, I don't really experience happiness like that. Because for me, happiness is like a fleeting emotion. It just comes and it goes. And it's like, it's so temporary. But something I know that lasts longer is contentment, which is just focusing on what you have.
Yeah.
Like, and appreciating who you have, what you have, and what you've been blessed with.
Absolutely.
So I think that one is more present-oriented, while happiness is more just something fleeting. It's not always there.
It's impossible for you to be happy every day. It's impossible. So if you realize that it's impossible for you to be happy every day, you realize that contentment is what keeps you rolling properly, just the way you said, right? And for me, that is it as well. And there's a level of... So for me, when you're content, you're joyful, not necessarily happy.
Yeah.
And you get the concept.
Bliss.
Yeah. Exactly, bro. The bliss is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is something you're most proud of that a lot of people don't know about you?
Oh my God. Habib, you're asking very deep questions. What I'm most proud of that a lot of people don't know about me, that I love my family and I'm there for them to the last breath. No one knows my family. I don't post them out there. No one has seen them. But my mom is still alive. I have amazing brothers, amazing sisters. And I'm happy that Allah has given me the heart to be there for them in all circumstances. And that I'm proud of. You know what my mom calls me? Then al-barakah, which means the blessed one. So always, every day she calls me that. Then Alberca, right? And for me, that is deep for me. That is something that I'm so proud of. Yeah.
What books do you recommend for anyone seeking to understand themselves?
So I'll start with Why by Simon Sinek.
Start with why.
That would be the first book I recommend. Start with Why by Simon Sinek. It's very important. Very important.
What are for spirituality?
So for spirituality, I would. I don't think there are books that you can recommend for people when it comes to spirituality, but you can recommend speakers and also scholars to go learn from. Spirituality is unlike a normal thing whereby you just want to go open a book and begin to read. You might get confused. And from history, we've realized that a lot of people become so overzealous and they don't, understand properly the deen, and they become misguided. They begin to do crazy stuff and everything. But I believe that the best thing you can do is to get someone whom you trust in their knowledge, who everyone trusts in their knowledge, and begin to learn from gradually and begin to go to school to learn. I think that's my best advice, but I can't recommend any book for that.
What scholars would you recommend they watch?
Yeah, I knew you were going to ask that question.
I mean, you laid the ground for that.
Yeah, you were going to ask that question. So, if you're new in the spiritual world and you're trying to become a better person gradually, I would recommend you listen to Mufti Menk. And I would recommend as well you listen to Omar Suleiman, right? And if you're on the intermediary side, right, where you're a bit deeper and the basics now, I recommend that you begin to listen to scholars like Sheikh Uthaymeen, Sheikh Bin Baz, listen to their lectures, and also people like Asim Al-Hakim, learn from them. Because now you're not in the baby level, you're an adult now, so you need to learn the hard stuff very well. You need to give the information. I need to understand it from where it's coming from, yeah.
Could you share any upcoming projects that you're particularly excited about?
Yes, I'm excited about our new workspace that is coming. It's called The Space, where people can come and they can work there. They can do whatever they want to do. And they're going to have, and there's going to be a coffee shop as well. It's going to be a hub, a collaborative workspace, a nice hub where people can come, do whatever they want to do, learn stuff, meet people that are like-minded, and still be within that peaceful atmosphere at the same time. And I'm also excited to announce that we have a new name for my podcast, which is with Unleash with Shuraim, coming up very soon as well. And you have to be a guest as well. We have to unleash you.
Unleashed with Shuraim.
Yeah.
That's an interesting name. I mean, finally, you've moved past the did you know?
Finally.
Finally found a name. What do you struggle with right now?
I think what I struggle with right now is love.
What do you mean?
So I don't know if this should be in camera, but okay, Shuraim, you can do this. So basically, I think I struggle with love. I don't trust easily. Yeah, I don't. And I can easily cut you off. And I don't feel anything. I've become so nonchalant about love in the sense that when I get the wrong people around me and I love them and they do something wrong to me, and over again I cut them over and move on, no matter how much they apologize. And for me, I think it's toxic because it's people make mistakes. I should be able to acknowledge their mistakes and live with it, right? But sometimes I'm not like that because the love I give, I love wholeheartedly. So I sometimes expect that in return, and when I don't get it, it kills me in ways that I can't explain, and then it forces me to do stuff that I don't want to do. So that's one thing I struggle with. Another thing is that a lot of people put you on a pedestal. No mercy lives there, no compassion, only the expectation of perfection. So I wish people won't put me on a pedestal. Other people will look at me as a human being as well. And people will think that, oh, this guy is a shit. Just because I interview shit doesn't mean I'm a shit. Right? Just because I interview politicians doesn't mean I'm a politician. Just because I interview business people doesn't mean I'm a businessman. Of course I'm a businessman, but doesn't mean I'm a businessman, right? So these are the two things I struggle with. People putting me on a pedestal that I know that personally I've not reached. And the first thing is love, and the second thing is people putting me on a pedestal.
Why do you think you have such high expectations of people?
Because I give them my best. Because I give them the best I can give them. And I've learned to love people. I'm learning to love people based on how they love me. But sometimes when I do that, it's very unoriginal. Because that's not who I am, right? So when I love a person now and interact with them, talk to them usually, and have conversations, and they don't like show even a little bit in return, I begin to feel, oh, this person don't deserve this. Why am I doing this and everything? Now I want to change. Now when I change, I become like a lion, and then it becomes very toxic because I'm trying to also act like them, so that they will be on the same page.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just crazy. It's very unexplainable, but yeah,
I feel like because of the way they treat you, you become someone you're not.
exactly.
And that hurts your self-identity.
100%. You put it perfectly well. It's hurtful. It's a lot, and I think that the way I love people stems from my childhood, right? And I feel people should be loved, ultimately be there for them, do whatever they have to do for them and likes of it. And that's why I categorically told you earlier that I don't mind being used, but just don't abuse me. Yeah, I don't mind being used, but just don't abuse me. But a lot of people abuse you instead of using you properly. So yeah.
Looking ahead, what are your hopes for Did You Know Studios or Unleashed with Shuraim now?
All right, for the Junior Studios, there's so much projects we're coming up with. We have a lot of content coming up now, and the Junior Studios is more Dean centric. And with Shuraim, Unleashed with Shuraim is going to be having a lot of people having conversations with them. We're going to be hosting like a lot of stuff happening. We're going to have like a lot of the summit with which you came. Thank you for coming, by the way. We're going to have like nice shows like that on stage, and yeah, that's what we're looking at, inshallah.
What legacy do you hope to leave behind?
That I wasn't a waste. Yeah, that wasn't a waste to humanity. That at least I was able to make impact in one person's life. So for me, because I hate popularity, it has its benefit. But if one person benefits from what I do, for me that is a win. That is a win. So I want to go back to Allah, knowing that I was able to serve His creations in the best of ways, and that He's not disappointed in me. Yeah, with sincerity of purpose.
Thank you so much, Shuraim. Really
Nurain.
appreciate you coming here. And I have to say that you've really paved a path, an unconventional path for a lot of us who have not seen something outside of the usual law, engineering, the typical paths here in Nigeria. You've shown us that there's a different way to live a life of meaning without having to do exactly what society expects from you. And I think you've not only inspired me, but so many people, and shown us that you don't have to be like everyone else. There's more. And this more comes with opportunities, it comes with happiness, and it also comes with, or let me not even say happiness, contentment.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for your kind words. And may we be better than what others think of us.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. You asked very good question, better than I did. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for listening. Before you go, I have two small favors to ask. First is if you found this episode helpful in any way, please subscribe to your preferred platform so you will be notified when the next episode is out. Second, if you know someone who could benefit from this, consider sharing it with them. The more people subscribe and share, the bigger the show gets, and the more amazing guests we can invite to share their knowledge and insights with us. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next episode.